There is a phase of growth nobody celebrates. It doesn't look productive. It doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look strategic. It looks like you've gone quiet. And in a world that rewards constant presence, disappearing feels dangerous. We are told that visibility is survival. If you're not posting, you're fading. If you're not building publicly, you're falling behind. If you're not available, you're replaceable. So we stay visible, even when we're exhausted, even when we're unclear, even when we no longer recognize the version of ourselves we're performing. And slowly, something subtle happens. We become externally expanded and internally hollow. This is the quiet cost of constant exposure. But nature does not operate this way. Nature is cyclical. Expansion is always followed by contraction. Growth is followed by integration. Bloom is followed by dormancy. A tree does not bloom year-round to prove relevance. It withdraws, it sheds, it stands bare. Not because it is failing, but because it is conserving. We have lost respect for this rhythm. Disappearing is not collapse. It is ecological intelligence. When a seed enters soil, it disappears completely. There is no applause for the moment it splits open underground, no audience for the silent cracking of its shell. Yet that invisible rupture is the beginning of everything. Transformation is not a performance. It is a reorganization. And reorganization requires enclosure. Most people try to transform while remaining fully exposed. They attempt growth in public view, constantly reacting to feedback, opinions, metrics, and expectations. But constant input fractures internal clarity. You cannot hear your own direction if you are always adjusting to external noise. Disappearing is not about isolation from life. It is about isolation from distortion. When you step back intentionally, even temporarily, the first thing you meet is discomfort. Silence feels loud. You instinctively reach for your phone. You want to check if you've been missed. You want to reassure yourself that you still matter. This is not weakness. It is withdrawal from stimulation. Modern life conditions the nervous system to equate attention with safety. Visibility feels like proof of existence. When that disappears, the ego trembles. Who am I if I'm not being seen? This is the real question underneath disappearing. Who are you without performance? Who are you without productivity metrics? Who are you without immediate validation? These questions cannot be answered in acceleration. They require stillness. And stillness feels threatening to a mind addicted to motion. But here is the truth. Most people are not afraid of failure. They are afraid of stillness, because stillness removes distraction. And without distraction, you encounter the parts of yourself you've postponed. Old insecurities, unexamined ambitions, inherited definitions of success. Goals you chased because they looked impressive, not because they felt aligned. Disappearing creates space for audit, not of your bank account, not of your follower count, but of your identity. There is a reason every profound spiritual tradition includes retreat. Monastics withdraw. Philosophers walk alone. Artists isolate themselves before masterpieces. It is not antisocial. It is foundational. You cannot build something true while constantly reacting. You must step outside the noise long enough to hear what remains. Nature demonstrates this flawlessly. Winter strips the forest of its visible vitality. Leaves fall. Branches stand exposed. From the outside, it looks like loss. But beneath the surface, roots are deepening. Nutrients are redistributing. Energy is consolidating. The ecosystem is not dying. It is strengthening its foundation. Humans rarely allow this phase. We interpret stillness as stagnation. We interpret quiet as weakness. We interpret absence as irrelevance. but continuous exposure weakens structure. Soil that is constantly harvested becomes infertile. Land that never rests becomes dust. Likewise, a mind that never withdraws becomes shallow. Disappearing is composting. It is allowing outdated identities to decay. Think about the caterpillar. Before it becomes a butterfly, it dissolves. Not symbolically, biologically. Its previous structure breaks down into cellular fluid. Imaginal cells reorganize what remains into a new architecture. It does not gradually attach wings, it liquefies. That stage is not glamorous. It is disintegration. And yet, without it, transformation is impossible. Many people want the wings without the dissolution. They want the next level without the shedding. But shedding requires solitude, because when you are alone, you are not performing. When you are alone, you are not adjusting. When you are alone, your internal compass becomes audible. This is why disappearing often precedes reinvention. But reinvention is the wrong word. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about removing what was never you. Layers of comparison, layers of expectation, layers of urgency. Disappearing allows you to ask, what is essential? What is noise? What am I maintaining purely out of habit? What would I pursue if nobody were watching? These are dangerous questions in a performance-driven world, but they are liberating, because clarity is born in contraction. There is also a deeper psychological layer to disappearing. Belonging. Humans fear absence because belonging feels fragile. If I step away, will I still matter? If I go quiet, will I be forgotten? But real belonging is not dependent on constant presence. It is dependent on authenticity. When you return from a season of withdrawal, something changes. Your words carry less noise. Your actions carry more precision. Your energy feels grounded because you are no longer reacting. You are responding. The difference is subtle but powerful. Reaction is immediate and emotional. Response is deliberate and aligned. Disappearing strengthens response. It builds internal stability. And stability is magnetic. People can feel when someone is rooted. Rooted individuals do not chase attention. They do not panic about relevance. They move with timing. Nature never rushes bloom. It waits until conditions are right. Perhaps your urge to disappear is not avoidance. Perhaps it is instinct. Perhaps something within you recognizes that your next expansion cannot be built on your current foundation. Perhaps the soil needs time. This does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means stepping back strategically, reducing input, limiting exposure, creating deliberate silence, protecting your internal ecosystem. There is power in being unseen long enough to become undeniable. There is clarity in being unheard long enough to refine your voice. There is depth in being unobserved long enough to discover your true direction. The green blueprint is not about constant growth. It is about sustainable growth. And sustainability requires cycles. Contraction is not the opposite of expansion. It is its prerequisite. So if you feel called to retreat, do not interpret it as weakness. It may be wisdom. Roots grow in darkness. Wings form in enclosure. Forests regenerate in stillness. Disappearing is not the end of your story. It is the restructuring of it. And when you re-emerge, not louder but clearer, your presence will not feel forced. It will feel inevitable. Trust the cycle. Withdraw when necessary. Refine in silence. Return with alignment. Because transformation does not require witnesses, it requires courage to step away and strength to rebuild unseen. And that kind of growth is the only kind that lasts.